I welcome everyone to our house, Turrones Picó. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you very much for receiving us. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Anna, could you explain us a little bit about the history of this company and about the Turrones?
Yes, well, my company is a family company of 100 years of history. And we're making something called turrón, which is one of the most important things you will find in a Spanish home for Christmas. It's a sweet made of almonds and honey and sugar, and the Spanish people have it normally on the Christmas dinner or Christmas Eve dinner or the lunch the following day. And this is what my family has been doing for over 95 years now, and we continue doing the same. Picó is our surname, the surname of our grandfather, and you can ask me whatever you want. I invite you to try whatever and get to know our sweets and our traditions.
Could you explain to me a little bit about the types of turrón you do and why it's so popular in Jijona?
Well, the two main types of turrón, you can call it nougat as well, but a person from Jijona will be a little offended. We call it turrón, okay? So this is the classical or original maybe one called Alicante. Alicante type is called to the hard type. And it's called Alicante because it has labeled under a protected European label called GPI, Alicante. It's made of almonds and honey, normally orange blossom honey. And then we have the Jijona type. The Jijona type is the soft one. You can see it's a little oily, apparently like sticky, maybe. We'll try later. But it has the same ingredients as this, but there is a process beyond, a process that dates back to 500 years ago. Nobody knows why and how, but it began in Jijona. And 500 years later, it's continuing being done the same way in Jijona. So there is a long cooking process in which we have to make an emulsion of the fatty phases and the solid phases. And when the maestro says, okay, it's ready, you can turn the heat off and then just give it the shape.
Okay, and these two are the two most traditional types of turrón.
Yes, they are the
apart from that, there are some other ones, yeah?
They are the top sellers in Spain.
In Spain.
Well, maybe there's also the chocolate types, which are very popular among children. It's unavoidable. It's a thing that is here to stay. But they continue their kingdom. They are being always in every table, on every table, I mean. Plus, this one is also introduced by top chefs or cooks into other recipes. It can be also introduced in sweets or also in sauces or with meat, with fish even. So yes, you can find always turrón. There is no Christmas without turrón. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
So Iain, have you enjoyed the turrón while you've been in Spain? Have you tasted already?
Yes, it's something that seems to appear at this time of year, and there's clearly a lot to choose from. But these are the ones which seem to be the best. And for me, I prefer the softer one. And this one is something which reminds me of something in the UK which is harder, called nougat. But I think the ingredients and the flavours in these are very special. Something very unique about them, which I've enjoyed.
And Owie, how about you? Have you tried these before in Spain, or?
Yeah, I think coming to Spain is the first time I experienced turrón and the different textures. I think I probably tasted something similar with the Alicante one, because it's like a nut brittle, and I've had in other places peanuts with like a caramel. So that one was a little bit more familiar. This was completely new to me. I'd never seen this texture, but also the flavor of the almonds is so different with that one, because I think this one has
it explodes.
Yes,
because
it's
of
almost,
the mixing.
I don't know if it's like a smoky something, or it just, maybe it's because of the cooking process. It tastes richer than the other one, but it was a new experience, and yeah, and now I enjoy it as well.
In fact, you can find similar types of these in every Mediterranean country. There is a version for it in Greece, in Morocco, in Italy, in France. You can find nougat, mandorlata, alba, torrone, whatever. But because it's obvious, I mean, it's the Mediterranean, we were living on almonds and grapes, basically, and olives, right? So you can find these three things everywhere.
Yeah. So how about in the UK in Christmas? Do you have this kind of, let's call it dessert or something like that? Or what do you normally do over there?
No, it's very traditional. There is a set way that things unfold during a Christmas day. We don't have Christmas Eve in the same way, maybe as you do in Spain. I think you exchange gifts on Christmas Eve. We would traditionally do it in the morning on Christmas Day. Children are all awake at 5 o'clock, at 6 o'clock in the morning. They're looking to see what their presents are, which may include sweets and things, but everybody's up. Mums and dads are all sort of, it's the middle of the night.
I wonder who had that idea. No children at home, probably.
Has Father Christmas, has Papa Noel been, and what has he brought? So children are all very, very excited. And then, very early in the morning, very traditionally, it's turkey. It's always turkey. It's a roast turkey with all the trimmings.
For lunch?
For lunch, in the middle of the day.
Right.
But it has to go into the oven at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and it cooks through the morning, and the children play with their toys, and then usually the family will come together. It's not maybe so much now as it used to be, but your aunts will come round, your cousins, your nephews, the children, everybody will gather around a table, and then there'll be the grand carving of the turkey, the serving of that and the vegetables. Once that first course has been eaten, often with sherry, we'll then move into Christmas pudding, which is fruits and nuts, a very traditional boiled pudding, which will go together with a white sauce with brandy. Before serving it, we'll pour brandy on it, set fire to it. So you get blue flames coming off this. And then when you think, I'm so full, you know, everybody is ready for their afternoon sleep, maybe some of the sweets will come out.
Will come.
And that's when you might see things like nougat or nougat, they say it in different ways in different parts of the country, that will come out, and chocolates and liqueurs and so on. And then it tends to be sit back,
And relax.
have a sleep. We used to say watch the Queen's speech, but now it's going to be the King's speech.
You have to change the phrase.
And that's 3 o'clock every Christmas Day. 3 o'clock, the country stops, people will watch the King
We do
address
hear
the country.
We do here, but on the
eve,
evening.
the previous
Yeah. At 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then the day after Christmas, which is the day I think the adults look forward to, is we call it Boxing Day, which traditionally would have been the time to exchange gifts. And historically, they wouldn't be grand gifts, they would be simple gifts. It might be a cake or some fruit or some nuts. And in fact, children, when they hang their stockings up, they used to put nuts and oranges and things like that. And Boxing Day is a day to go, it's over and you can breathe out and relax. And then you will graze again through the different foods that are the leftover from the Christmas day and enjoy those.
Wow, yeah. And Owie, what about in South Africa? How do you normally enjoy Christmas over there?
I think we have a lot of similar things to some of the Christmas traditions because they've been carried across the world. But obviously the first difference for me growing up was our Christmas is not in winter. So every time as a child I remember seeing, you know, Christmas trees with snow and all of these things about fires, and for us it's the middle of summer. So it always didn't make sense to me because it's the hottest time of year for us, December. And so for us it's also a time of celebration and relaxing. It's a time when a lot of people would go from where they work, which is normally the cities, go back home to the villages to see the grandparents, into the rural areas. So for me growing up, Christmas was always the time, okay, we're going to see grandma and grandpa in the village and see all my cousins. And yeah, growing up was very religious as well. So we would wake up on Christmas Day, and the first thing is you go to church for the Christmas service in the morning. Then you come home, and then it's a big feast. And because of where we were, if we were in the rural areas, we're doing it very traditional. So it would be, they would have a goat, and that would be the Christmas goat that would be given.
Yeah.
You know, people keep goats, and then it would be a big celebration to say, oh, well, let's take one of the goats and we're going to prepare that and cook that. And then we have just a lot of different things. Not so much, we didn't do a lot of sweets afterwards, I think. But then later, as I got a bit older and we didn't always go to the village, then we started to have the things like turkey and the Christmas puddings and mince pies, which were not from our own culture, but from the sort of English heritage, so the mince pies and custard afterwards.
Very interesting.
And I remember when I was 11, 12, my father said, oh, I want you to experience a really traditional Christmas meal, because we were now starting to mix a lot of things. And he brought the head of the goat and it was cooked and put on the table. And we had never seen this as children before. We were like, we can't eat that, it's so scary. But he wanted us to experience what it would have been like and his Christmas growing up. And so we were a little bit not so sure, but we tried it, and that was kind of the most traditional version, yeah. But it's always a time of just seeing family and friends, and
that's the common thing across the world.
Coming together of people, yeah.
And there are also, some special dishes in Christmas, I presume. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it was just any dish that we don't have the rest of the year.
Exactly.
So all of the favorite dishes, people will cook, because it's summer as well. So we don't have these, foods that are to keep you warm and things. So we still have a lot of salads and things.
Okay.
And sometimes also, especially in South Africa, we have a lot of barbecues because it's summer. So Christmas for us is outside with a barbecue, putting sausages, steak, meat, whatever, just a celebration, but a completely different.
Whereas in the UK, it's raining.
It's raining.
It's raining. In my head, in my childhood, it was always snowing.
Oh.
Maybe it's global warming that means that now it's always raining. But we still light a big log in the fire. We call it the Yule log. And they try to keep that burning throughout the Christmas period. So you have one special log, which is for Christmas, and that seems to have got translated into cakes that look like logs as well. So you'll have a Yule log cake. All sorts of different food. Mince pies, which you mentioned, seem to begin about September and finish about February. Everybody's eating mince pies throughout. And mince pies are fruit, candied peel, sugar, brandy, but they originally used to have beef mince in them as well, with beef suet and fats.
Okay. Wow.
Christmas pudding was like a bigger version of those ingredients, and we used to put a sixpence in it, and the person who got it would get good luck, and they would keep the sixpence as well, which
like
was
Roscon de Reyes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the other thing I didn't mention, which features quite, it features more nowadays, is that you'd always have a good whiskey somewhere around, which, like the Yule log, would keep going throughout the Christmas period. Yeah.
Well, here we have a Fondillón. We brought you Fondillón just for you to try. Is from is very close. I think it's in very close from here.
Exactly, very close. MG Wines.
MG Wines from the area in Salinas, Monóvar.
Yeah.
Right, very old. And shall we try?
Yeah, let's try.
Just if we could just start. Anna will try. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's a different colour. I didn't know it was going to be that colour.
And Anna, just a personal question. Which is your favorite turrón?
My favorite is always the Jijona type, if it's right. And my favorite thing is to eat it after being cooked, which you can only experience if you are cooking it, right? Because it's like a spongy, warm and still not compact.
Oh,
it's an experience.
Yeah.
I invite you to come and try whatever. It's not sticky, it's spongy. It's not oily yet, because it has to be rested before you cut it. So that's when the oil comes out. It's normal, it's a natural process. But I like to eat it from the boixette. Boixette is the cooking pot where we have the last cooking, boixette. And go ahead. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard. So I think it should be quite crunchy
Which is the order to do? Do we do
The order.
the Turron first and the...
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
I think I will try first this one because
Okay.
it's
I will
softer.
give you some
Okay.
napkins.
Because this one is stronger, but that will be my choice. I don't know if Pedro will think the same way or he
I
likes.
mean, I personally prefer a lot more this one. And from when I was a child, I was all the time eating a lot of this. But I now like both of them, really. I mean, that one is hard, because you need to, and the other one is soft. I mean, it's something that...
And she didn't explain about the piedra one.
Oh,
yeah?
that's right.
The one.
We can try later.
Yeah.
Okay, it's apparently very similar to this, but it has no caramel. You haven't introduced any honey in it. So it's just plain sugar, ground, together with roasted almonds, like this, very slowly, and then you add lemon zest. So it has like a fresh thing at the
and
end
also
of
has
it.
some...
That's cinnamon for a decoration and gives, of course, because cinnamon is very strong, so you have to be careful.
And with this one, is this, what is the white base that the almonds, is this
It's
made
caramel
of egg?
made of sugar and honey only.
Okay.
Why is it white?
Yes,
Because it
I
has
wondered.
white of egg. At the end of it, you add, and it gives like a spongy, also it grows, and the caramel is softer. It's not as hard as you would find
let's try. Let's try
plain
that one.
caramel.
Go for it, Owen.
Yes, let's go. Okay. Go. Enjoy it, please.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's not easy. It's not difficult to chew, right?
It's soft.
We stopped talking now.
That's a good sign.
So how are you in Spain, Ian? How are you feeling now that you are retired? Or almost retired, but I will say retired, yeah? Because you still work at home and you work and
Yeah,
so
I
how's
still...
life on a daily basis
we
here?
live in the campo, so we've been picking olives and we make olive oil and we're growing fruit. I like to get on my tractor and chug around. The weather is fantastic. It's the one thing, if you ask anybody,
Why here?
Spain's wonderful, the scenery is great, you've got the mountains, you've got the sea, but above all, and you've come from a country where, like I say, it rains all the time, you light the fires all the time. What a joy it is at this time of year to be able to get up in the morning and walk out, mostly on sunny days. It's not always warm, but it's sunny and the rain is not there.
And Alicante has very different spots. I mean, you can find the deep mountain, I mean, not deep forest, but, and just in 20 minutes you are sailing, probably.
That's right. Well, you can walk in the mountains, see the spectacular views, you go and visit the bodegas, test the wine, try the different wines. The food is wonderful.
Yeah, that's true.
We've travelled through many different countries around the world, tried different cuisines. In Spain, it's part of life. People, when people sit down and talk, it inevitably gets round to the food, and you're often sitting round a lovely meal.
It's very important.
And here you've got great meat, great fish, great cheeses, great wine.
Yes,
What more could you want?
You can buy, if you are even in a big city, you can buy from near crops. I mean, you can buy potatoes from Jijona in the market, or I don't know. You can buy seasonal things and things that have been produced near, which is fantastic to go to the street market and get these products and base your diet
Very
on
nice.
this. When shall we try it?
Shall we cheers? Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Salud. Salud.
Salud. A ver.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
Madre mía.
And that one is great, isn't it?
Very good.
Very powerful. That
Fantastic.
nougat.
Yeah, because it has mixed everything, so it
Flavor
explodes
yeah.
everything.
Flavors, yeah.
Some people like with more presence of honey, and some want the almond to be the leader of the. But okay,
I think when we were children, Pedro, probably.
Yeah,
it was very popular,
yeah,
wasn't
was
it? Because it was popular for me. Yeah.
It was both. I mean,
For
in my
children.
house it was both of them, but obviously when you're children, you probably like more
it was
this
easy
one.
to eat
Yeah.
as well.
I can imagine when, as you so often do, you have family around the table. A lovely thing. I mean, I talk about Christmas being a time when family come together. In Spain, it's every Sunday, or most days. There's the immediate family, but then there's the extended family.
Yeah.
with tables full of food. I can imagine when you've
Full
got
of
children
Turrón.
around,
Full of Turrón.
they're here, gimme, gimme, gimme. They want
I
that.
know. It will disappear. It will disappear. Yeah, but that's very
Delicious.
good.
Very good.
Right, and what things, what things could you miss when you're in a different country? Because you both, because I'm sure there is always something.
I think the most interesting thing is sometimes you see things and you go, oh, actually that's quite similar. For me, one of the biggest reasons for us to move to Spain, because we had been in other countries and I had been in the UK before that. I couldn't cope with the weather in the UK. So coming to Spain for me reminds me a little bit of home because your weather here is much more similar, although our seasons are different times of year, but the climate for me here agrees more with with me. And I think I like a lot of the similarity in terms of the culture in Spain. For instance, in the summer, people are outside enjoying having the barbacoas, which is a big thing for where I come from. We call it a braai, a barbecue, always outside, cooking meat, cooking with friends and family and just being out and enjoying. And some of those things are very similar. But of course, there are things I miss, like the specific type of food and type of things like that. But at the same time, you learn to appreciate the new things and learn to appreciate the Spanish food and culture. And although I never traveled to Spain before we came here, I think from watching TV and kind of just seeing things in the media, I was fascinated by the idea of Spain and Spanish food and culture. So it was great to actually get here and taste and see firsthand.
And you've been in different parts of the world and moving in different countries. What would you recommend in bullet points to someone who wants to move to Spain?
I think the kinds of things that we were advised, which is you've come to Spain to see Spain and Spanish life and Spanish people. So yes, by all means, mix with your British friends and socialise and so on, but get stuck in. Whichever country you're in, get under the skin of it. Get to know people. You've got to be quite outgoing and gregarious yourself, but learn some of the language. Take a deeper interest. Don't just go for shops or necessarily the country walks. Talk to people and you discover all kinds of unusual cultural things. And I think you learn about yourself as well. You've got to be quite resilient. I think that's travelling generally. And make sure that the bureaucratic side of it doesn't catch up with you, because like any other country, when you're travelling, you've got to make sure your paperwork's up to date, that you've got the correct licenses, that you're paying the right amounts to whichever people are after your money. It's important to embrace it, completely embrace it. And I think, particularly in Spain, because it's a very what can I call it? It's a culture where people will hug each other, and I think if you embrace Spain, it will embrace you back. There's that sort of reciprocal thing. But going back to what you were saying about missing things, I almost conversely, although I love the sunshine, that I miss some of those days when, particularly around Christmas, when it's really cold and it does get snowy. When you can shut all the doors, shut the windows, draw the curtains, light the fire and have a nice day in where it's warm and cosy. Cosy is a difficult concept, but that's sometimes something which I miss, I suppose.
Well, it gets a little bit colder in Christmas. Not too much, but
Not too
something,
much,
yeah.
I mean, we're about it.
In January, probably we'll get 1 week or something.
Yeah. And sometimes, we just get strong winds and heavy rain, and but
and the following day comes the sun opens again.
I know.
I think it's over 300 days of sunshine here, and that's wonderful. Yeah.
So, what would you like? Well, so far, because it's an adventure. Every day is different, isn't it, in Spain? What do you like the most so far, or what do you think it did impact on you? If there is something, I don't know if it's more about the food or about the people. Or what is the most that you would say, oh, this is touching,
Well, I've always had a bit of an interest in wines, and I was surprised because I think historically Spanish wine was probably not up there with French wine and some of the other. I've discovered a whole new world of Spanish wines, which is, for me, it's interesting, it's fascinating. Got to be careful because it's quite inexpensive at times. But you go from there to the wines like this, which are, you know, the best. Food like this, which is fantastic. So the food and the drink have been absolutely marvellous, as well as the weather. But people. You know, people, wherever you go, I think it's just lovely to meet people. Music, the art. I've not been to as many musical concerts as I would like to, but you can travel to Madrid or to Valencia to do that. But again, you've got superb, deep cultural history and roots there, which are fascinating.
There's variety, a huge variety.
I mean, to say.
Spain probably has something in common, but there's little in common between a person of Malaga and Galicia, and even in the villages. So it's enriching and inviting to, you know, research. Do your research, go to the villages. Every village has an own tradition, an own speciality. It can be an adventure.
And even children, have you noticed different children in Spain?
The children in Spain, I mean, I was working in the school. They're the thing that make you get up in the morning and go to work, because they're just delightful. And they're delightful because they are really well cared for. The sense of family in Spain is something which many other cultures have lost. Children go off and play on PlayStations, or they want to be heard rather than seen. And the thing that you notice, I was saying about the extended family, is that children are central to everything. Children are given priority. Occasionally you think, well, they're indulged, they're overindulged. But where it pays back is that they are very well behaved. They do what children do, but they are respectful, they're well behaved, they're good fun, absolutely charming, loud. If you want to see if you want to see something which is culturally different, that's not just the children, it's the adults as well. It's boom, everybody talks all the time, all at once, and very loud.
Especially if they don't know the language, like the old generation. If they don't understand you and different language, they will even speak louder.
Yeah, louder.
You know,
and more rapid.
thinking you will understand because it's louder.
Yeah, but in school, I mean, what a lovely time of year, Christmas, when everybody's getting together, they're making their Christmas cards or they're making their presents. They do little plays, which is the same, very similar to what would happen back in the UK. But somehow it's bigger, it's more colourful. The children love Father Christmas. He comes round, even though the sun's shining. Guess who had to be Father Christmas? You know, I've done years of being Father Christmas with the beard, and it's just lovely. It's lovely to see the same sort of innocence that children have at Christmas time, their enthusiasm for it. It kind of removes you from what's going on in the rest of the world.
That's very flattering, this thing you said about the Spanish children. I mean, if someone from abroad doesn't tell you, you don't know these things.
You mustn't say anything about this to the people in the other countries, but I did say, and I said to the teachers that I used to employ, I said, these are the best children in the world. They are so well behaved, they're respectful, they're enthusiastic for learning, and just lovely to be around. And you know, we'd go around the school and they would greet you, and they would
very happy.
Always happy. And it's just a pleasure.
News. I mean, you've made my day.
Actually, because you've been traveling a lot around the world, and you could compare, and that's the best testimonial I think you could say, because we don't appreciate, we have it on a daily basis.
I think all children throughout the world are, you know, they come as children.
Yeah,
whatever the world does to them makes them what they are. And you'll have, in Thailand we had children who were quiet generally. They just seemed quieter. It's a Buddhist country with a different tempo and spirit to it.
Yeah.
you know when you're in Spain and you're around children, there's you can't miss them. You can't miss them.
From very first time in the morning, everything is like.
Yeah, but like I say, wherever there's food, they'll be at it, and I'm sure that put plates of this in front of them. My problem with this is that when it comes like that, you just want a little bit more and a little bit more, and suddenly it's all gone.
You know, yesterday, one of my children, he told me, I want Christmas to come. I thought, well, he wants some present, something. And I asked him, why do you want Christmas to come? What would you like about Christmas? And he said, for me, it was a surprise. Obviously, we do it every year. It was because all the family is going to meet each other again, all together.
That's what it's
and not
about.
one time, it's going to be different days. It's going to be from different days. So I was like, wow, that's fantastic. That's good that he feels that. He's enthusiastic on that.
And something that I was moved by always this time of year is at the end of the term, when the school term ends and people go home for Christmas, we used to stand at the front door and say, bye-bye, have a good holiday. And they would shake your hand and they'd say thank you. And say thank you for this term. And they'd come back after Christmas and they'd say, we've missed you. You're not supposed to like school. This is, you're supposed to like that. But it was the manners and the deference with which they would say thank you, and you have a good holiday as well. They thought beyond themselves, and that's a really lovely quality.
That's great.
Okay, what are the projects and wishes, Anna, for next year?
In Picó, we want to remain doing what we know best to do. And we are the fourth, I'm the third, but there is the fourth generation of the family already. And the younger ones as well are interested because we have the Christmas fair in Jijona, and the young cousins of 15, 17, 18 years, they sell the turrón as well, and they're so proud that they are selling something their family are doing and making money. And people are interested in wanting this, so they are fascinated. We want to stay in the business. We want to keep the traditional aspect of the craft, but we want to do it safer, faster, cleaner. I mean, do it better, very, very state of the art processing. And we want to offer jobs in our village because we like the village life. I mean, we like Alicante, but we are from the village, and it's something that comes with our character. We like to stay here and to bring up our children in a healthy environment as well, with the mountains and the nature near. So this is what we want, to keep on the business and adapting to the new times and requirements, but to do the traditional type of thing that only we know after 95 years of craft.
Wow.
What about bees? I think you have
Bees
a story
are our friends.
here.
We have our story because, well, without bees, you can't have turrón, because bees are the only living being in nature that can produce the bee. It cannot be reproduced. You can make an attempt to copy this.
But it's not the same.
But it's not the honey. So only bees can make the honey. But beyond this, they are pollinators of everything we eat.
Exactly.
Everything we eat, especially almonds. Almonds is the main ingredient of all type of turrón. Hard, soft, Jijona, Alicante, marzipan. So thanks to this, we exist. But not only we. Everything we eat is thanks to bees. So from some years ago, we've been doing like a campaign. It's an advertising campaign, but it's also an educational campaign, wanting to transmit the message into the younger generations to keep in good shape the nature, especially the environment where the bees have to live. So, we are making song contests, or, we also set up a bee hotel chain called B&B. So, yes, we are trying to make the children know that without the bees, we don't eat anything, especially we don't eat turrón. So they are the most important living being in nature, more than humans, which are destroyers of everything.
Because I read that in some European countries it's been reduced like 50% of the bees.
Yes. There are some environments, pests and intensive agriculture and other factors are doing a big harm into their ecosystems and environments, so yes, they are in danger. So we better keep an eye and don't kill them.
It's nice, isn't it?
It matches very good, eh?
It matches good.
Very
yeah.
good, very good.
So
Salud.
what will you, Iain and Owie, what will you wish for the 2023? I know it's a hard question, but what will you expect if we'll just go with the flow? Or
I think our project for the next year is probably to travel more because with
COVID was hard, yeah.
Yeah, it's been difficult, but we've had time to. We moved to Spain and then we bought a house in Spain. So we've got our roots here now. Now that's been consolidated, we want to start travelling, but not going to necessarily other countries. We will go to other countries. We want to learn more about Spain. It's a big country.
Like to, see more of the
And
different
what I really said about getting
There's
into
a lot to see, a lot.
Yeah, you're going to be busy.
Endless.
I want to see traditional villages which make Turron or...
Come to our fiestas this summer, please.
Well, everything's opening up
experience.
again now. Yeah, so I think more travel, especially around Spain, and learn the language. We need to get better at that. Now we know where we are and where home is. We have no excuse. We need to learn more, which involves meeting people, but actually stopping being the teacher and being the pupil now, and learn and do my homework.
Yeah. And I think by going around the country and traveling and get in the car and go to villages where it forces you to have to explain yourself and speak to somebody, that will be a really good experience.
That's the only way, yes.
People are very understanding as well, even if you get something. I know my grammar is not perfect in Spanish, but I try to just make myself speak a little bit and people will appreciate the effort.
Yes,
and I think that gives
a Spanish
you
person will not make fun of anyone trying to speak the language.
Yeah, people tries to help a lot, even if they don't understand each other.
That's true.
Yeah. And Pedro, what will you think about 2023?
Well, it's been this year. It's been long or short. It depends how we see it. But obviously, we've been very dynamic. We opened 2 new offices in Andorra and Quesada, new offices. So it's been a big challenge for us. And well, this year, what we need to do is just to promote, develop more webinars, informative sessions in order to inform clients about what we say we relocate into Spain, about immigration, about taxes, about many things that we inform clients. I think the projects will be like to try to put things in order to inform more and more, so people who once is interested in Spain will be more informed in order to know what are the answers that they may have. Yeah.
Because actually now, I don't know if you heard, with the nomad visa coming up very soon and people working from home. A lot of Europeans are working from here. So it's a new scenario, isn't it?
From all around the world. I mean, Spain is one of the, I think it's like a second country in the world that is being interested people to move on. And well, right now, because of COVID, I mean, families and people is like thinking in a different way about you enjoy life, about the lifestyle. And obviously Spain is a good country to live because of the weather, because of the gastronomy, we say. So people are thinking about, well, I will move to Spain, but what about taxes? What about immigration? What about all these things?
That you need to know.
Issues that we need to.
Is a must, isn't it?
It's a must. It's a must.
Nowadays, with the video conference, COVID did help us to reintegrate into a new world, and nowadays it's very good, the video conference and the webinars. And you could be talking to one in United States, Australia, easily to do all the planning. I think it's being changed, isn't it? It's a big change. And Alicante, I think, is booming.
It's booming, yeah.
The province, I mean, is booming. So we'll just cheers.
Thank you very much.
Then.
Well, I think
you need a little bit more.
And I myself, I think we are the rapid ones.
It's nice wine, isn't it?
It's lovely. Wow. And it does go really well with the
It goes very.
Thank you.
It goes very well. Oh, a little bit more.
And I like this has a little bit of a crunch still inside, even though
It
it's
has
smooth. It has
a bit some dices of roasted almonds.
Yeah.
So it gives
Okay.
Well,
Thank you very much. Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Feliz Navidad.
Enjoy España y feliz Navidad.